It's Thursday, July 16th, and here's what you need to know by noon. The war with Iran escalated sharply overnight, even as both sides signal they want a way out. Plus, the vice president admits the White House botched the Epstein files, a viral housing number New Yorkers are fighting over, and SpaceX slips below its IPO price for the first time. Let's get into it. We start in the Middle East, where the conflict between the United States and Iran escalated overnight. American forces struck roughly a dozen targets across Iran, command centers, air defenses, and missile sites, and disabled an oil tanker as part of a renewed naval blockade. Iran struck back, launching missiles and drones at U.S.-linked bases in Kuwait, Jordan, Bahrain, and Iraq. At the center of it again is the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow passage that carries a fifth of the world's oil. The U.S. has now reimposed a blockade on Iranian ports, and shipping through the strait has thinned to a fraction of normal. Oil climbed back toward $87 a barrel, and the human toll is climbing. Officials say at least 35 people have been killed, and more than 300 wounded since the fighting reignited on July 9th. In one southern Iranian city, a hospital had to evacuate more than 200 patients after it was struck. This is no longer a handful of pinpoint strikes. It's a widening regional fight. And yet, here's the twist. Both sides say they'd rather end it. President Trump put it bluntly, quote, "They don't like what we're doing, and they do want to settle." The White House says Vice President J.D. Vance is leading talks toward an interim deal, even as the missiles keep flying. But there's a fight over those very talks. In a new interview with Joe Rogan, Vance said a, quote, "well-funded campaign is trying to derail the negotiation." He's pointing to a Time magazine investigation reporting that a former Trump campaign manager is running a multi-million-dollar operation, funded by the Israeli government, paying conservative influencers to turn the president's base against a ceasefire. U.S. officials say it may have backfired. Time reports it. Vance echoes it. We'll let you weigh it. Here's the rest of what's happening. First, a rare admission from the White House. On that same Rogan interview, Vice President Vance was asked about the botched rollout of the Epstein files, and didn't dodge. Quote, "If people want to say we mishandled the Epstein release, guilty." He blamed the messaging, saying the Attorney General overstated what the government actually had. And the story isn't fading. This week, a Goldman Sachs lawyer was questioned by Congress over emails she'd exchanged with Epstein. Second, a housing number sparking a fight online. 40% of New York City renters were born outside the U.S. That's real. From the city's official 2023 survey. Two facts anchor it. The survey measures where renters were born, not their legal status. And that same survey shows a genuine crunch, a 1.4% vacancy rate, the lowest since 1968. Some argue immigration is the strain. Others argue the city simply hasn't built enough. Same number, two conclusions. And third, a reality check for one of the hottest stocks of the year. SpaceX slipped below its $135 IPO price for the first time, just a month after a record-breaking debut. Analysts say the early hype is cooling, with a high-stakes Starship launch on the horizon. A reminder that even the buzziest names eventually meet gravity. That's the market, by the way, not advice. So what should you watch? Two things. First, whether that Iran interim deal holds or collapses as the strikes continue. Iran's parliament is warning of, quote, fuller confrontation if it breaks down. And second, the Federal Reserve meets in under 2 weeks, caught between cooler inflation and oil pushing higher on the war. That's the tension to follow. Markets news, not advice. And that's Thursday, caught up. A widening war with a strange push for peace. A White House mea culpa. A housing fight. And a reality check for SpaceX. We'll be back tomorrow morning. This has been Know by Noon.